If your Keurig coffee maker turns on, the lights work, you press the brew button, and you can hear the machine running but no water comes out. There are several possible causes. In many cases, the brewer is not completely dead. The problem is somewhere in the water path between the reservoir, the pump, the internal tubing, and the brew needle. This exact problem can happen on machines such as the Keurig K-Iced Essentials, but the same basic troubleshooting applies to many Keurig single-serve brewers. Start with the simplest check, the water reservoir. Make sure there is enough fresh water in the tank and that the reservoir is sitting correctly on the brewer. Remove it, check the bottom valve area for dirt or debris, and reinstall it firmly. If the reservoir is not properly seated, the brewer may be unable to pull water into the internal system. Next, remove the K-cup pod and try running a brew cycle using only water. If the machine pumps normally without a pod, the problem may be related to the pod holder or one of the needles. Keurig specifically recommends keeping the brewer needles clean because coffee grounds can block them and cause brewing problems. With the coffee maker switched off and unplugged, open the handle and inspect the pod holder area. Depending on the model, the entrance needle can have small openings that may become clogged with coffee grounds. Carefully clean the needle according to the instructions for your model. On many Keurig brewers, a straightened paperclip can be used carefully to loosen material inside the needle openings. Also, clean the pod holder and rinse removable parts before reinstalling them. If the brewer still makes pumping noises, but produces little or no water, scale is another possibility. Minerals contained in water gradually accumulate inside the heating and water delivery system. Keurig recommends regular descaling because calcium deposits can restrict water flow and affect brewing performance. If your brewer has been used regularly and has not been descaled for a long time, run the official descaling procedure for your model. Do not simply pour random household chemicals into the machine. Follow the Keurig instructions and complete the required freshwater rinse cycles afterward. However, there is another situation that can produce almost identical symptoms. Imagine a brewer that was purchased a few months ago, used only once, and then left sitting unused. When you try it again, all the lights illuminate and the pump can be heard, but absolutely nothing reaches the cup. In a situation like this, heavy mineral scale is less likely because the machine has barely been used. Instead, the problem may be that water is not moving properly through the inlet or internal tubing. There may be a blockage, a stuck valve, or the pump may have lost its prime. That is what happened with the K-Iced Essentials machine shown in this video. The machine powered on normally and sounded as though it was trying to brew, but the water was not being pulled from the reservoir and delivered to the cup. After the normal external checks failed, the brewer was opened and the water inlet and tubing were inspected. Once the internal water line was disconnected and the restriction in the line was cleared, water could move through the tubing again. After assembly, the machine was tested, the lights came on, a brew size was selected, the pump started, and this time coffee flowed normally into the cup. So in this particular case, the problem was not a reset button, and it was not an electronic control problem. The water path itself had stopped flowing correctly. There is an important safety warning here. Opening a Keurig coffee maker is very different from cleaning the reservoir or needle. Inside the machine there are mains-powered electrical components, a heating system, wiring, and hot water components. Never operate an opened coffee maker while touching or working around the internal parts. The machine shown in the repair was opened for troubleshooting, but if you are going to inspect anything internally, disconnect the power first and allow the brewer to cool completely. Also, although the original troubleshooting method involved manually blowing water through the disconnected hose, I would not recommend putting your mouth directly on coffee maker tubing. A cleaner approach is to use appropriate clean equipment to check whether the tubing is obstructed. And if you are not experienced with appliance repair, stop at the external cleaning and descaling steps and contact Keurig support instead. If you hear the pump but no water moves even after checking the reservoir, cleaning the needles, and descaling the brewer, the problem may also be a failed pump, a defective inlet valve, blocked internal tubing, or another internal component. A useful clue is the sound of the machine. If you hear the normal pumping or vibrating noise, but there is no water movement, start by looking for a restriction or loss of water supply. If there is no pump sound at all, the diagnosis may be different and could involve the pump, wiring, control electronics, or power supply. So, if your Keurig coffee maker is not pumping water, follow the troubleshooting in order. Check the reservoir and make sure it is properly seated. Try a water-only brew without a K-cup. Clean the pod holder and brewer needles, descale the machine if mineral buildup is possible, and if the pump runs but water still cannot travel through the machine, an internal blockage or waterline problem may be the real cause. In Mackay Iced Essentials, shown here, clearing the internal water path restored normal operation. After the repair, the brewer was once again able to pull water from the reservoir and brew a full cup of coffee. The key is not to start replacing parts immediately. First determine whether the machine has power, whether the pump is running, and whether water can actually travel through the brewer. Those 3 observations can quickly point you toward the real problem.